The Artemis program of NASA aims to land astronauts on the Moon's surface and establish a sustained presence there. On November 16, NASA launched Artemis 1 successfully from Florida's Kennedy Space Center. After 25.5 days on the Moon, it successfully splashed down off the coast of Mexico. Artemis, the twin sister of Apollo and the Greek goddess of the Moon, who first sent humans to the Moon on July 20, 1969, inspired the name of the mission. NASA renamed a number of prior initiatives it was already carrying out to send people back to the Moon under the Artemis program. President Trump's Space Policy Directive 1 required them and instructed the agency to concentrate on Moon missions. Vice President Mike Pence set a lofty goal to put people on the Moon at the South Pole by 2024 in 2019. Using the Moon as a stepping stone for a voyage to Mars is one of the Artemis mission's goals, which is maybe the most challenging. The only investigation done on Mars so far has been done by robots, but NASA now plans to send humans there by the 2030s. The return to the Moon will be used to provide mankind with the information and resources we need to more effectively navigate our solar system, with a future aim set on the red planet. But how can a voyage to the Moon help us be ready for a mission to Mars, which is quite different and unpredictable? NASA astronaut Stephen Swanson said this: "The real goal is Mars. And we will use the Moon as a testbed because Mars is a very difficult mission." 12 astronauts, all of them males, walked on the Moon during 6 trips between 1969 and 1972. The most experienced astronauts were needed for such a high-risk trip, and at the time, there were no women at NASA with the necessary test flight expertise. Space was long thought to be a field dominated by men, and it wasn't until 1978 that NASA chose its first female astronauts. 75 women will have traveled to space by March 2022, and the Artemis lunar landing will serve as a symbol of how times have changed. As early as 2024, Artemis 2, the Orion spacecraft, which is carrying the first 4 members of the Artemis crew, will carry the crew further from Earth than any other crew has ever gone. The team will fly around the Moon during the roughly 10-day journey, then return to Earth while testing the systems of the spaceship while carrying people. The following man and the first woman will set foot on the Moon in 2025, in Artemis 3. The astronauts will launch for the Moon, using the lunar lander to send 2 humans to the south polar region of the Moon, assuming that earlier missions have been successful. They plan to stay there for about a week. The launch rocket is in charge of performing the crucial duty of launching the crew and spacecraft into orbit. The latest rocket developed by NASA for manned space missions beyond Earth orbit is called the Space Launch System. It is intended to fly at a speed of 25,000 miles per hour, over 1,000 times faster than a spacecraft intended for the International Space Station. How many of these impressive plans will see fruition is difficult to tell at this point. Cost estimates are still being refined, and the overall price tag for Artemis remains unknown. The Apollo program's budget ended up being a total of $23.6 billion in 1973 dollars, according to NASA, the equivalent of more than $136 billion today. That means that each Apollo moon landing cost approximately $22.6 billion. For Artemis, NASA's spending is projected to reach $93 billion by 2025, with each SLS launch costing $4.1 billion. That's it for now. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to get more videos about our amazing world.